Hi, I'm Jen Price. I'm the head of school. Students call me Dr. Price, just so you know. I'm so excited that you're here today. Saturday morning, just a little bit of a testament to this school, is there's a lot of kids who actually go here who are here this morning too, right? And talk about the fact that like, okay guys, we're gonna do open house. You're gonna come to school on a Saturday, and by the way, it's the day after Halloween, right? And aren't you excited to volunteer to do this, right? I mean, and so what I ask you is, students, talk to them. Because like, they're gonna tell you the truth, right? You're gonna hear me, I'm gonna give this like big speech, I'm gonna talk about all these things, I'm gonna tell you about why BB&N, and you can like, it could be a little Charlie Brown or whatever. Talk to the students, right? Talk to the students. They chose to get here really early on a Saturday morning because they care so much about this community, and they wanna make sure that the next group of kids care as much about the community as they do. So that to me is such a part of this school. So my job right now is to talk to you about why BB&N. And I'm sure that there are many of you who have visited other schools and have heard other heads of school do this exact talk, right? So I'm gonna try to be a little bit different, but probably mostly the same. But I will do my best. And then at the end of this, which is my favorite part, talk for about maybe 6-7 minutes, and then I'm gonna ask you to think of questions. And my whole thing on questions is, I'm the head of school. Ask me the hard questions. If I can't answer it, I shouldn't have my job. Right? So start thinking, like what's hard? All right, so why BB&N? And I always go to our mission. So if you look at our mission notes on the back of the programs, it says, BB&N is an academically excellent, diverse and inclusive school. It's the first part of our mission. So let's break that down. Academically excellent. What I say about that is it's like in the water here at BB&N. Doing school is in the water. Does that mean that you have to be perfect? Does that mean you have to like get amazing grades? No, it means that you have to like school. This is a place where kids like school. We ask kids, do you like school? Huge percentages of them say, I like coming to school every day. I like doing school. And by doing school, I like doing the academics. I like doing the extracurriculars. But like, this is a place for kids who like to do school. And again, I don't want it to be perfect. We actually appreciate when it's not perfect, because for those of you adults in the room too, when are the moments that you learn? The moments you learn the most are sometimes the moments where you struggle, right? So I'm not asking you to come in as this perfect person. If you did, why would we exist, right? What we're asking you to come in as a learner, somebody who's excited about school, somebody who wants to be here, somebody who wants to do school. So that's what we mean by academic excellence. Does that make sense? Diverse and inclusive, what does that mean, okay? It is really important in this moment in our world and in our nation that we actually talk with one another across differences. So it is so important to be in a school where people have a different lived experience than you do. And one of the coolest parts about an independent school is we get to draw kids from 75 different communities in Massachusetts. And we get to put kids who aren't living together in school together. And we get to have conversations about different lived experiences. We have conversations across race and ethnicity, across gender, across family structures at home, kids who like theater, kids who like sports. It is so important. Why is it so important? Because the students in front of me, all of you, you're gonna get asked to lead when you leave schooling. You're gonna be asked to lead people who have a different lived experience than you have. And so being able to be in a space and to work with people and to grow up with people who have a different perspective, who celebrate different holidays than you do, who have different family structures, who come from different countries. What a gift that is. And frankly, my view and our school's view is if we had more of that in our country, we feel like our country would be in a different place, right? And I said this on stage at graduation in June. We can talk about all of diversity, equity, inclusion. It's become really challenging in our nation. I don't want to talk about it. I want to point to the 138 kids who stood behind me in that moment who are graduating BB&N and saying that their actions, their connections, their future says more about it than anything else. So that's the beginning of our motto, right? Our mission. We are an academically excellent, diverse, and inclusive school. And then we have 4 core values that define us. The first, and we have a motto, long-time motto, honor, scholarship, and kindness. Honor felt a little like medieval, right? So we turned that into integrity. And if you look at how we define that, We say doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And in a world of AI, think about what that means. I know I'm going to get the question about AI, so I'm just going to take it right now. We have worked really hard as a school to think about what artificial intelligence means to education. We are actually the lead school of a 16 independent school collaborative called the New England AI Collaborative. Our visiting innovator, each year we have a visiting innovator in this school. Last year it was a muralist by the name of Rob Smith. This year, he's amazing. This year, it is actually a guy by the name of Eric Hudson, who is a national expert on AI. And what are we doing? We have basically come up with a policy to say we're not putting our head in the sand about AI, but if you are using AI as a way to support your work, you need to let people know. You need to let your teacher know. You need to have conversations about that, right? Because there are times, for instance, in how teaching kids to write, we really don't want kids using AI. We have an incredible history here at BB&N of teaching kids to write. We survey our seniors in college and we say, what did you learn at BB&N? Tell us, how did it go in college? And they come back and they say, oh, we're doing really well. BB&N really prepared us. And I say, what are the 3 things we taught you? And they said, number 1, you taught me to write, right? And actually teaching kids to write is really important, right? So that's one. They also tell us, you told us time management. I've learned time management. I go to college. I can do things. I know how, executive functioning I got. Number 3 is I learned to advocate. They're like, Dr. Price, I go into office hours. No one goes to office hours in college. What are they, crazy? Go talk to your professor. And then I've heard other kids go, yeah, I go to office hours. The only kids I run into are BB&N kids. All right, so when we think about integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Our next one is inquiry. So honor scholarship. Scholarship felt like, okay, what do you mean by scholarship? And if you think about it, inquiry, being curious, thinking critical, talking to one another, listening to one another, right? And so we think a lot about inquiry, and a lot of our academics is about teaching kids to think. Not teaching them what to think, teaching them to think. And then our last 2 values are kindness. Kindness has been at the core of this institution since its creation. One of the things I can tell you is I really feel strongly that our kids are really kind. Our faculty is kind. Like, that cannot be underestimated. I think that actually being here, connecting, supporting, being kind to one another. And then our last value is belonging. And one of the things I've learned, I've been doing education for 30 years, and one of the things I've really learned is that if a kid does not feel like they belong, if they do not feel seen, if they do not feel like they're in a place that is safe and supportive, they can never learn to the depth and distance of their abilities. So belonging and feeling like you belong here. And that is an incredibly important part of what we do, especially when we're educating kids in a diverse and inclusive community, right? And then we talk about the last part of our mission is, why do we do all of this? Why do we do all of this? There's something at the back in the mission, but let me tell you what I think of it as. So my mother used to say to me, and I'm sorry if you heard this before, but she would say, Jennifer, if you're mad at me, call me Jennifer. Jennifer, she's like, your job is to leave each place better than you found it. So sending kids out into this world to leave each place better than they found it is really why we do all of this. Equipping all of you to do that, to do it in a really amazing, academically excellent, inclusive space that is guided by some really important core values, and then watching you go out into the world and doing amazing things. One of the best parts of my job is I get to see alums. I get to travel around the country to talk to alums. I have alums come back here, and I am just humbled by what BB&N alums are doing in this world. And it is such an important part of who we are. So that's why BB&N. There's lots of schools. I ask you to talk to our kids today. I ask you to ask all the questions, look at everything, and say can I see myself here? Can I see myself thriving, struggling a little bit, having amazing experiences, whether they be on this stage, whether they be on our numerous sports fields, in our art classrooms, in our classrooms. But can I see myself doing all that I just talked about here at BB&N? All right, I gave you a little bit of time around questions. So who's got one? And again, don't make them easy. Like, no softballs, right? Throw me a curveball or a splitter. What a game last night. Sorry. World Series. It's kind of sad that it ended on a base running mistake, but feel bad for that guy, but oh well. Anyone have a question for me? Yeah, go.
Clearly, the students are very engaged. It's wonderful to talk to them. How do you support the faculty and the administrators who work here to remain engaged and to be leaders for the students?
Yeah, great question. So, I was thinking about this actually this morning. So, pretty much everybody who goes into education, they start from an unselfish place, right? You don't go into education if it's about you, right? You go into education because you want to give back. You want to, right? And it's important that we take care of our faculty and our staff and our administrators, right? And so how do we do that? So there are many ways that we do that. One is, this is hard, you look at our tuition. It's a big number. Why it is a big number? Because I'm trying to pay my faculty and staff something that allows them to live anywhere close to Cambridge, right? If you think about that, I understand that. But the vast majority, like 78% of our entire budget, and our tuition doesn't even cover our full budget, goes to faculty, staff, salaries, and benefits. And you gotta pay people enough that they can have, and it's not just our faculty. One of the things that we did is I feel strongly that everyone who works here, from our bus monitors and drivers to our administrators, everyone needs to be paid a living wage, right? Everyone. All aspects of our school. So how do we make sure that all the people who call BB&N their workplace are taken care of from a purely financial and benefit space? I think it's really important. And that is why our tuition is the amount that it is, just to be really clear. What else do we need to do? Our parents are amazing. So let me give you a bunch of examples. Our parents do a lot of appreciation breakfast and lunch, which I know when you get that email as a parent, you're like, I really have to bring food again but that matters. It really matters. But then they also do something really wonderful. So it used to be, I don't know if this has happened in some of your schools, where everyone would give their second grade teacher really nice stuff for the holidays, but no one ever thought about the bus driver or about the custodian or about the person who taught music right? And so we decided that just didn't feel like our commitment to belonging, right? And so the Parents Association did this amazing thing. They said, rather than giving a teacher a gift card to Starbucks or whatever, they created this parents end of year fund. And every faculty and staff member, other than the administrators, every faculty and staff member gets about a $350 or $400 gift from the parents right around the holiday time in the new year. I mean, how cool is that? And I'm talking everyone. Our coaches who are part-time coaches get something, our bus drivers, our teachers, that is who we are. And the parents step up every year and they raise a ton of money, and it goes at a time that is critical for faculty and staff, and that makes you feel seen and heard and supported, right? And then we also do things like a lot of swag, right? And we have a pretty rocking faculty party. I won't tell you when or where. So we try to do some of these things to make them feel seen. The other thing is you're working in an independent school, right? And so your class sizes are really manageable and reasonable. My first 20 years of my career were in public schools, so I talk about this from an incredible sense of knowing and support. I was the principal in Newton North, I was superintendent in North Andover, but I'm not putting a 25th or a 26th kid in a classroom for a faculty member. I had to do that in my previous work, right? Class sizes here, 12, 13, 14, right? You're teaching 4 classes, you're not teaching 5, right? So you're also giving faculty an opportunity to get to know and connect with kids. It's really hard as a teacher when your class load is 100, 125 kids, because you got into this work to know kids, not just to teach them to read and write and arithmetic. You got into this work to know kids, and in an independent school, you get to know kids, right? And they're no disparagement to my public school colleagues. Again, I did it for 20 years. It's just really hard to know 100, 125 kids, right? I can tell you the pedagogy of my public school colleagues is incredible, because to be able to teach a class like that, you have to learn really good pedagogy, but you just don't get to know kids. So that's, and then, there's administrators, that's I could go on for an hour. I'm not gonna do that. It's really hard to be an educational administrator right now. Let's be honest, whether you're in higher ed, when you're in K-12. And so just making sure they feel seen, heard, and a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say a little bit about the advising system. How does it work? Is it just check-in with the
Oh gosh, no. Oh my God, your advisor is up in your grill at all time, is all I'm gonna tell you. So the way it works is we have freshman advisors, and then we have advisors sophomore, junior, and senior year. So you have two advisors. You have a freshman advisor, and then you have a sophomore, junior, and senior year advisor. No. And why is that? It's a great question. So we really understand that the ninth grade year here is actually a really specific year. Not only do you go to bivouac, but you also are in these classes. We have people who understand ninth graders. You get a year, you come here, you have people who have for a long time teach ninth graders, know ninth graders, advise ninth graders, and it's just ninth graders. And then we are very thoughtful. Kids get some say. Faculty and staff get some say about placing kids into their 10th through 12th grade advisor. Because it's also hard, like you go into a school, like my kid just started college, pick your advisor. I don't know anyone. Like, I can't pick my advisor, right? So like ninth grade, you come in, 10th through 12th. The cool part about the advisory is it meets all the time. Is there a faculty member? How many times a week does it meet? Twice a week. And it's not a short period of time. One of them's
30 minutes.
So you get 50 minutes a week with your advisor. All right, so like I said, they know everything that's going on. And the cool part is you're with 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So when you're a 10th grader, there are 12th graders in your advisory who can help talk to you through it. And an advisory is typically no more than 7 or 8 kids. So we're not talking a big group. And really, those advisors get to know your kid, communicate with parents at home, help, laugh, give them lots of donuts. Right? Okay, does that help? All right, you had a question.
How do you foster a sense of belonging?
Yeah, how do you foster a sense of belonging, particularly among students? Great question. There are many ways that we do that, right? So one of the things is we have the advisory. That's really important so that you feel like you're connected, right? When you come up here, I'm just gonna start with it, and you're gonna think this is nuts, but like your first 11 days of school at Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols are in the woods. Like, welcome to school, first day of high school, here's my bag, bye parents, see you in 11 days. No cell phone, like you write letters, you write your postcard to your parents when you're up there, you cook your own food, you dig your own latrine, you're sleeping in a tent. I'm not lying, this is what happens, right? So I love this. So one of my favorite moments is the kids come up, all right, first day of school, first day of high school, like this is epic, right? They get on that bus and they leave as 135 kids and they come back to class, right? And how does that, you immediately, like you're cooking, cleaning, surviving, you'll be fine, don't worry. But in the woods with 7 other people, and that is your squad. And that's how we start high school, right? And then you come back and immediately, the cool part is we've got each week we have 12 JGs, junior guides, juniors and seniors who are up there. They connect with you, you get to know them. So when you actually have your first day of classes, you're 12 days in, you got 7 friends that like you survived with, you've got upperclassmen that you know, and that's the beginning, right? The fact that we do that is a commitment to understanding how important belonging is. And by the way, we've been doing that for 72 years, right? So that is the core of the school. Then how do we do that? Kids find ways to connect, whether that be in classrooms, whether that be in art studios, whether that be on the stage, whether that be on fields and athletic programs, people find ways to connect. On top of that, we have so many clubs and activities that kids can find where you can have a shared experience. The finance club, it's like, there's like 110 clubs. There's even a club called the Grandma Club. I'm still not sure what they do. But there's tons of clubs and activities. We also have affinity spaces. So kids who have the same lived experience are able to connect with one another and say like, this is a school. There's lots of people who have a lot of different experiences. I'd like to just be with people who share this experience with me. And we have those spaces. We have trips where kids go all over the world and have these amazing experiences. Part of going all over the world is with the people that you go with. You become very close as you travel and have new experiences. So there are many, many ways that we foster belonging. And then, we also have a lot of school spirit. I'm just going to say, I think that's really important. It's one of the things I feel like I brought from public schools, which is like I got on blue right now, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? And we had homecoming and we had confetti cannons and foam pits and at different games, kids storm the field. A little bit of a problem with the refs, but we still do it. So that's important too, that you feel proud to be part of BB&N. So that's how I would say we foster belonging. And really, it's about the kids creating space for other kids. Because one thing I know is that the adults can do all this stuff, but if the kids don't do it, it doesn't matter. All right. I'm around all day. I will answer any question. I want to welcome you. I want to thank you so much for being here today. Please get out, go into the rooms, go over to the athletic center, right? Go all over. See if you can feel yourself here, see yourself here, ask the questions, talk to the students, talk to the parents. There's a ton of parents here, by the way, too. Parents, talk to the parents. We're about to have a student panel in here, but you've got a few minutes. Get up, explore.